Now, web development can be very difficult and overwhelming, but it can also be extremely satisfying, super fun, and easy if you know what you're doing. In this video, I'm going to explain my coding journey and explain some of the key reasons as to why I was able to learn HTML, CSS, React, JavaScript, Next.js, Firebase, and all of these other technologies in only 6 months. Let's get into it. The very first thing I did, even before I started learning how to code, was set up a goal, okay? You need to think of a website that you want to make, something that you genuinely care about and that is somewhat difficult to build. Now, it may be a weather tracking site or a to-do list or a goal planner, but whatever it is, make it something unique. No clones, okay? Understanding what you want to build first before you start learning to code not only tells you what you are trying to achieve, but it also actively gives you motivation to do so. It constantly reminds you why you are on this journey and how much you actually care about achieving it. For me, my goal before learning to code was creating a site that allowed a user to track their books that they were reading and also display a bunch of books with information so people could find a new book to read easier. Boom, that's my goal. It's also important to keep in mind that a goal must be written down somewhere in the physical world. If a goal is only present in the mind, it's just a thought. You need to write your goal down somewhere. It could be on a piece of paper, a Google Doc, a Notion page, a whiteboard, literally anywhere. Just make sure it's in the physical world. Every time you see that goal, you're going to get a boost of motivation, you're going to get a shot of focus, and you're going to achieve this goal much quicker, okay? I wrote my goal down on my whiteboard in the corner of my room, named it Bookworms. Every time I see it, I know what I'm working towards. Now we get to the fun part, learning how to code. But we need to take a slightly different approach. Instead of trying to learn as much as possible in the first go, then try to build a website, we're actually going to learn the bare essentials and start applying our learnings as quick as possible, okay? Now, there are 3 parts when it comes to learning something new. There's a theory section, action section, and a feedback section. Most people spend far too much time, if not all their time, in the theory section, okay? Learning, and spend little to no time in the action and feedback. Unfortunately, the action and feedback is where a lot of the growth actually happens, okay? And people spend too much time in the theory section just because they're afraid of failure. People hate making mistakes and screwing up, but that is how we learn. So our plan is to spend as much time or majority of our time in the action and feedback section so we can make plenty of mistakes. If we make mistakes, we can learn those mistakes, we can learn how to fix those mistakes and adapt much quicker, okay? The more mistakes you make, the quicker you will learn. So where do we start? Simple. Okay, first thing we do is learn HTML and CSS. We want to build a website. They are the foundation, the skeleton of a website. So what I did was look up HTML, CSS tutorial on YouTube and found a fantastic 6-hour-long video by Super Simple Dev, okay, that literally went over everything that I needed to start making a website. So I installed VS Code and started following the tutorial step by step. Now, the key to learning quickly is not just to sit down and watch, but to constantly be thinking about how we can use this and playing around with it in different ways, okay? Experiment as much as possible. So I would have the video playing in the top right corner while I had VS Code open, and whatever he was talking about, I would try my best to play around with it and experiment as quick as possible. So in the video, he was actually creating a YouTube clone. Now, it's important to focus less on what he's building and more important on what he's using, the concepts he's using, the techniques he's using, okay? Absorb that rather than just copying it, because you won't actually learn anything from copying. Instead, start actually working on that goal website while learning HTML and CSS. So I knew that my website would need a nav bar, so when he started talking about how to build a nav bar in the video, I was building the nav bar. Now, this process is super active, okay? The more active you are, the quicker you will learn. It's important to understand that what you create actually won't be good. It will be really bad, and you need to accept that, okay? But over time, as you learn more and you keep iterating, it will eventually be good, okay? Be consistent, and eventually it will all pay off. Now, you won't learn how to code in a few days or a few weeks, but it's going to take months, okay? So be consistent, keep working at it, be active, make mistakes, and you will learn much quicker. So after finishing the video, I had a pretty solid grasp on HTML and CSS. And so far my project, it was there. It looked a bit messy, but I was on the right track. But there was definitely way more to learn. So now I want you to treat your project like a video game, and every feature that you need to add to your website is like a DLC you have to install. Okay? Now I had a rough website with a nav bar and a list of books in the middle and a little login button at the top right, but there was so much more I could add. Okay? So, first things first, my nav bar had a search bar. The search bar was literally just an input with a bit of styling. We need to fix that. The input needs to take you to a new page with a list of books that you've searched for. Boom. Straight away, I've got my first DLC, my first feature that I want to add to the website. So what do? I hop on YouTube, I hop on Google, I'm searching how to add a search bar. Luckily for me, what I'm trying to make has been made by literally millions of developers around the world. So it's super simple. I found a video explaining how to make one and I followed it. And that was literally my whole journey in a nutshell. Just finding something that I need to make, looking it up, and realizing or learning how to make it. That was the whole journey, okay? Now, the key is not to be overwhelmed with the big picture. Obviously, we want a fantastic website with smooth transitions and animations everywhere, 3D assets, but we need to start on the first level, the foundation, okay? Because if we don't have a solid foundation, our skyscraper or website is going to tip over. So, don't be overwhelmed. Focus on one DLC or feature at a time. Search it up, build it, learn from your mistakes, and you'll be sorted. Now, obviously, I could go over my entire journey, every technology I learned along the way, but what I said earlier and in this video so far is literally all you need to become proficient in web development. Now, let me summarize. First, I created a goal of what my finished website was going to look like and why I wanted it, okay? I wrote it down in the physical world and it was there every single day. Then, I learned the bare essentials. Not trying to learn too much at one go because I wanted to keep playing around with each new concept along the way and making sure that I made plenty of mistakes so I could learn how to fix them and add them to my website. Finally, I broke my website down into mini projects or features that I wanted to add and find out what I needed to achieve them one by one. One last thing, it's important to pick up one language and learn it fully before moving on to another language. If you're trying to learn HTML, CSS, Python, Java, C+, all at the same time, you're going to end up with nothing. So stick to one, learn it fully, then move on to the next. You'll save way much more time. Now, if you have any questions about my journey or any recommendations about the code to learn, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And finally, enjoy your journey because the process is way better than the destination. Take care.